Practical SQL Server 2012 Administration and Programming Select statement. Select with union, union all, rollup and cube. Let's start with the union. The union is to create a union of sets. The first query consists of one row, so this is a set of one row. Similarly, the second query and the third query. So if we take the union of three sets, we should get three names. We have to drop the table because the first query created the table. So let's execute it. An important thing to remember with union that the columns must match in the union sets. So first we create the table with the union. When we do a select, finally we drop the temporary table. And here is the result. There are three rows in the temporary table, which was created as a result of the union of three sets. If we change the logical operator, then we are going to get a much bigger set because it's greater than equal, not equal. Equal gets only one employee, for example 74 for the middle set. Let's execute the query again with larger sets. So first the query, then select, and when we drop the table, execute. The result is 74 rows. 74. Let's do a change to the query, and we are going to use union all instead of union. Let's execute it with union all, and we got 167 rows. The reason is that union does a distinct. So after merging the data sets, it does the distinct operations. Meanwhile, union all does not do distinct. So if there are duplicates, we get more with union all than with union. And for example, if we execute the last set, that's 65 rows, and the previous set generates 74 rows, but apparently there is overlap, and union using distincts removes the duplicates. Union all keeps the duplicates. We can generate a sequence with union, and this is the result. We are using a digit CTE and a cross join to generate a sequence. Hundred rows, and here is the sequence. Union does distinct. So we have to change the database context. We have 16 rows, and we union the two sets which are identical, and we still get 16 rows. And with union all, we get 32 rows. Naturally, there are some duplicates. Now, what happens if we are missing a column in one of the sets? The columns must match. So if there is a missing column, we can just include a blank, we can just include 0, we can include null to match up the column structure. The columns must be of the same type. This is a group by summary query. Let's execute it. Without the rollup. The rollup is related to group by. Change the database context. And this is the result, 48 rows. And let's execute it with rollup. And the result is 86 rows. So let's see what happens in the result generation. So we have a summary rollup for the different categories. For example, let's say somewhere which we can see it's meaningful. For helmets, black, blue, and red, and this is helmets all. This is for the category of mountain bikes. Black and silver are the colors, and rollup generated the combination of the two. In this instance, summing up list price does not make much sense. This is the purpose of demonstration with rollup. Let's do a demonstration with cube. Cube does multiple level rollups all the way to grand total. And this is the result. This is the grand total which was generated by the cube. It is important to point out that the subtotal is not part of the cube or the rollup generation that generates a null, and we have to replace the null with something to make the results more readable. This is the generation of the results with rollup. In this query, we are grouping on days to manufacture and color. So this is going to be the subject for the multi-level rollup, which is called cube. When we see null null, that means the grand total. When we just see a single null, that means is a subtotal. For example, for days to manufacture 2, the color yellow, silver, black adds up to 7. So this is the subtotal. This is the subtotal for yellow for any days to manufacture, similar to white color. This is the grand total, 504, and 248 is when the color is null. In the following query, we are using the grouping function to help us to decipher all the result of the cube operation. So now the results will make more sense to us, although it's not presentable to end user in this format. We would have to do significantly more formatting to make it presentable. So now we resolve the issue of null null. In this case, this is null because of the color is null for that product, and we see that's the grouping level 1 and 0. And 1 and 1 is the grouping level, this is the grand total, this is the ultimate rollup. And this is another rollup here, but we see that it's only at one level. These are all the color totals, and this one is the total for 0-day manufacturing. This is the this one does not have an aggregation. This is just where the color is null. Well, it looks pretty difficult to decipher it. On the other hand, once we master it, we can make very nice reports with rollup and cube. So we added color total and DTM total, and we had to do a data conversion as well, because this is a string and this to manufacture is an integer. And let's check out the cube report. So now we see when we say color total means the days to manufacture is 4, and here are all the colors, and this is the subtotal for days 4, and similarly for other days. These are the totals by colors, and this is the color total 51. Now when we see color total and DTM total, that is the grand total. What we did is exclude the products where the color is not null, because it was very confusing when we are trying to decipher this report. We are repositioning to a Northwind database and do a union all with 3 sets, and this is the result. In this query, we are creating a new temporary table for all countries in this set. If this table exists, we want to drop it because we want to do a brand new test. And selecting using the union operations. If we want to order the results, we just need a one order by at the very end, and we have to put the into the very first set, and we have 37 rows selected. We drop the table if it exists, and we drop a temporary table unconditionally. Let's do another union. Into a temporary table. and this is the results, 27 rows, and we drop a temporary table. Union with order by. Order by goes at the very end. So this is the order by clause. It refers to the entire collection by the union. Another important thing to remember, if we do select into, it comes into the first query, and the columns must match. Let's run a few pubs example with cube, rollup. So now this one is simple to interpret. This is the grand total for by publisher ID. And in the following we have a rollup. So we see for business type, for pub ID 1389 and 0736, these are the sales, and then we have a rollup for the business type, and this is the result of the rollup. This operation uses with cube, and this is related to group by. It has to be group by. So we have multiple level rollup, and the null indicates the grand total. In the following query we do some extensive formatting to get meaningful results. So when we execute it, this is the result set. We see the grand total. Now the report looks nice. We see the total for 2008, the yearly total, and 2007, and so on. So we see how the cube generates two levels of totals in this instance. One is yearly total, and the other is grand total for all the years. Well, but how did we do it? Well, if we don't do anything, we get nulls for the aggregations. We have to do some heavy-duty formatting to replace those nulls with some meaningful strings, words or expressions such as yearly total and grand total. Finally, a second well-formatted cube query. We have to use grouping to resolve all the different levels of aggregations. So it looks very difficult to do, but it pays off because it gives a very nice report. Let's execute it and examine the report. So these are subtotals. These are totals, and finally this is the grand totals. So the subtotals are grouping at the month level, the total is grouping at the year level, and grand total is for all. So what we see here is total sales, and these are sales by year, and these are sales by month. For example, March 2008. Recapping, we can use union and union all to combine sets, combine rows from different tables, from different queries. We can do aggregation using group by queries and the rollup and cube operators to aggregate beyond the group by, because group by does the basic level aggregation, but if we want to go into higher rollups, we have to use rollup or cube. Cube gives an overall grand total as well. This is the end of the unit.